curious. Come on, let's do your top 5.
Go on.
Let's have it.
What did I do yesterday? Denmark, 1986.
Yeah, nice.
That's one that always stood out for me as a kid.
That's just here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, great kits. I always think of Germany, 1990. Was that thing?
It was.
Yeah, Germany, 1990.
Yeah, that was cool. And then I go back to me. So you've got Everton.
Yeah.
Which Everton one, though?
The 84-85. And I don't know if that's because that was my first kit. Have we got it?
Of course we have.
Well, of course
That's an amazing
we have.
kit.
Of course we have, Jamie.
This is your life.
Yeah. I love
Life
that
in
kit.
polyester.
I think the Everton and Liverpool... Oh, God, that grey kit's unbelievable.
Our cameraman actually supplied these, who is a mad Evertonian fan.
Own collection.
From his own collection, but
Wow.
yeah. I mean, so when we talked about an Everton kit that I had as a kid, that was it.
Yeah.
In a strange twist
But
of
it's
fate,
interesting.
Everton was the first and last Premier League kits that I ever designed.
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
did Puma in 2003, and then I did the Umbro one in 2014 with Martinez.
But in my head, I think, is it because they won that you think the kit's amazing? Or is it, what is it? I always think about that. Is it a great kit, or is it because the team that played and it draws you towards it? You know, and the thing about this kit is, I'm saying it before, it's not a badge, is it? And I'm saying before, I like Liverpool having the badge, but Everton have got a very, very significant badge, haven't they? Because of the way it goes.
It's not too dissimilar to the Barca one, as far as shape is concerned. Yeah.
But that's obviously the year for me was the season after when Everton won the league. That's obviously got the writing on it. Yeah. And I remember that kit because actually that kit in the 84-85 season, that was the kit Everton wore in the first game that they won that season. Because they lost the first game, drew the second game, and then won away at Chelsea on a Friday night live on TV, and they had the grey kit on. But there was another kit that season because Everton wore yellow. Now, I don't know if would that just be that in yellow? It would be, wouldn't
That's
it?
Michael, that's the expert.
So it was...
It must just be that in yellow, mustn't it?
No, so the neck was different. It was just see like this is
Yeah.
like a V-neck.
Yeah.
It was a yellow that had slight stripes on it, and it was just a V-neck. It didn't have like the little triangle.
Why would they have wore that game then?
I think they just had
Teams didn't have 3 kits then, though, did they?
No, so that grey one was 83, 84, and then.
But it can't be because Everton wore that kit at Chelsea.
Yeah, they carry it over. So they'd still wear kits from previous seasons if there was a clash.
So that wasn't Everton's away kit for the 84-85 season, no.
I don't think so. I think.
Oh, that's interesting. Even though they wore it in the season.
Yeah, so back then they used to literally they'd still carry over kits from previous years. Like the kit you're thinking of.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was at that game.
They wouldn't have released brand new ones every single year.
Yeah, it wasn't like that then, was it?
Well,
Yeah.
it would have been it would have been an absolute uproar because back in those days, I mean, there was a lot of pressure with parents, you know, criticising clubs for bringing out too many kits. Whereas now it seems to be the gloves are off, and every team now, whether it's Newcastle, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, you name it, they will have at least 3 kits, if not probably 4, 5 or 6 by the time you put in Europa, Champions League, home and away.
Well, we did something in Liverpool where we had a Champions League kit. I think that was in 2000 and, I don't think it was the year after we won. I think it was about 2002. I think the first time we were in the Champions League, we had a Champions League kit that had the stars, maybe how much we'd won it. Oh, am I got that wrong? Or was that year after the year we won it?
Because there was...
I don't know. We definitely had a Champions League kit one season where it was different to what we wore.
Yeah, at one time there were slightly different kit regulations between the Premier League and UEFA.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So you were allowed a different sized brand logo on it.
Yeah.
You weren't allowed the stars in the Premier League, but you were in Europe.
All right, so what was my top 4? I've gone for... That's not necessarily in the order.
Right.
Germany. What else did I mention? It's got to be an AC Milan kit. From Baresi, Maldini, Hullet and Van Basten.
Yeah.
There was something about AC Milan. I know we beat them in this kit, but I used to love the way AC Milan's away kit would just be the home just be the home kit, but in a different colour.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like, there was nothing else different. I think that's a great kit.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking of more of the late 80s, Milan, early 90s, of berets, you know, that red and black stripes.
Can I look at that?
Mediolanum as the sponsor across the
Yeah,
front of it.
I'd say them.
I mean, that is a cracking kit. And there's actually quite a
It's
lot
baggy,
of
isn't it?
Well, it's baggy, but there's a lot of technology in that.
Yeah.
There's also 2 layers joined together at the bottom, so if you take it off, you can get it back on again.
Yeah, so...
Somebody should have thought of that.
yeah, twat. But that is really interesting because that was at the time when the Cool Motion stuff was going out.
That's a cool kit.
So they're two of the biggest companies pitting it out against each other.
Yeah.
I've come up with a 2-layer, and funnily enough, so has Adidas. So
Industrial espionage.
yeah, I think there was someone who's obviously gone from one place to another. But that's
Way heavier than yours. That.
well, it's a lot heavier, but I think they have called it right. But I mean, that is one of the criticisms we have of a lot of kits now, is they've just gone to basic polyester, recycled, bottled kits. They've got an interesting neckline, but from one kit to the next kit to the next kit, there's not that much difference for them. Whereas back in these days, there was real innovation going into the actual kit designs themselves, you know, because that is a bit of artwork, really. I mean, I know obviously it's Maldini's, it's AC Milan's, but the fact that it's got so much to it as a player's kit, you know, that's actually going to aid your performance, because that's going to keep you cool in hot conditions and stuff.
The only other kit I put on there was the England kit from '82.
Yeah.
Where has it got the sort of colours across the top?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that a famous kit for other people like
God,
it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
There's
God,
something about that kit. Yeah, you just,
It's interesting because it wasn't a especially good England team.
It's
It's
classed as the Keegan kit, right? I would say.
Yeah, where you're from.
Yeah, definitely.
It's classed as.
But I don't know if it's because it was the
Gordon Cowan should
'82
have won.
World Cup of. That's a World Cup, I think most people, everyone remembers, you know, the Italian fellows celebrating the Brazil team, being in Spain. It was.
Well, what a lot of people don't realise as well, Admiral were kind of one of the pioneers of football kit design, because they were one of the first brands that kind of commercialised it.
They were the first. They did a Leeds United kit.
Yeah, that's right.
It's interesting that people talk about, well, kits were so much cheaper back in the day, but the cost of a Leeds replica kit back then, currency adjusted now, it would work out about 75 quid for the shirts.
Would it?
Yeah, so they were actually more expensive in the 70s than they are now.
Yeah, but that's a cracking kit. So you've brought a couple of other kits with you as well, though.
Yeah, I just brought some kits down.
Can you talk me through this one?
So is that I must have swapped on the Champions League. That must have been about. When did we play Atletico Madrid? That would have been about 2008, 2009.
Yeah, I think I'd left Nike at this point.
Yeah.
Because this was one of the teams again that I used to look after.
See the badge. There's something about the badge I do like that sort of.
You like a badge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Aguero shirt, that, right?
I mean, I'm struggling to think how Aguero got in there. He's a bit of a thick-set lad, isn't he? But it is his shirt, like.
Spray. He didn't mind a spray on shirt, did he?
Yeah, that was a tight one.
It was actually my design team at Umbro that did the famous Martin Tyler Aguero moment. Did the design the shirt for that one.
And I brought this, and this is an AC Milan one. Whose is it? Oh, Dugari.
Oh, wow, played for Birmingham. That's how good it is.
Yeah. Right. Oh, yeah, they've got the look at that for the detail. So I was looking at that thinking, I've just said before about AC
You're never
Milan.
going to look at kits ever again in the same light.
But they've got, obviously...
That's because they've won the league, so they get a Scudetto on the front.
But then they got the badge on the sleeve. I've never seen that before.
Well, the badge goes to the sleeve if they've got the Scudetto. That's what happens.
Oh, okay. So every year in Italy, the team who win the league...
I don't know if they still do it now.
I've never noticed that.
Because of the UEFA rules that
what's that?
badges on the sleeve.
So that'll be their league badge.
Yeah. But where I swapped this, would you believe, was in a tournament in Amsterdam. It was called the Soccer Sixes, so it was played in the Amsterdam Arena. Yeah. You can get it on YouTube, and AC Milan, Liverpool, Ajax and Rangers were there. It was like a six-a-side tournament, so I ended up getting that shirt then. So that would be 96. It's a big shirt, that.
Yeah, it was
the detail there, never knew that,
Yeah, it's lovely.
And the other one I brought was an England one, so a World Cup one from the game against Algeria.
Oh, was that?
That was a terrible game, 0-0.
Terrible. Travelled all the way down there to watch that.
It looks and feels a little bit like a rugby kit to me. I don't know the collar. I don't know the buttons.
Well, it was a designer that they did a collaboration with called iTor, and it was all about the fabric of England, and we can talk a little bit about what happened after that, actually, because myself and Rob ended up working
designing the
shortly
next
after this.
one. So you almost wore our stuff.
Yeah, which we've got one there, which is the only England kit I've ever designed. And much like what you were talking about, if you feel that fabric. But the idea with this, so when we design products, so I was talking earlier where we would design for the players, always the players. This time I reversed it round.
Because we know the team are not going to win, so we might
exactly. might as well get the fans excited. So yeah, so basically we went back into the archive and looked at the original Umbro kits from back in the day, where there were Airtex fabric. So we knew we couldn't do that with all the hairy chests that would have going to be on display. So we thought, right, well, we'll do a mock eyelet. So it's cotton to the outside, but then it's polyester to the inside. So the idea is it'll still draw moisture away from the body, but for a fan's perspective, it would always look a little bit more casual. But with this, we were talking about like the design processes we go through. So this had always been designed with a navy blue collar. It was always going to be navy blue right the way through. And again, the PLM who was looking after the team at the time, as they were going down to the presentation, and I wasn't at that presentation because at the time I was actually consulting with Robbie, brought us in to consult on this work. And she had Illustrator, which is the program we use to design the kits on. She had Illustrator on her laptop and changed the colour of the neckline to that blue and presented it with a blue collar without even telling us. So I was absolutely furious. I was absolutely livid.
It seems like that. This kit in particular and the couple after it presented some of the most unique challenges I'd had as a kit designer, and it was with some of the players involved. So because these were done with chest sizes rather than small, medium, large, so I don't know whether because you obviously went to the World Cup quite late and hadn't been playing in the qualifiers, so you may not have been involved in the process, but there was, when this was first being created, which was before I got to Umbro, the squad were getting measured up, so Rio and Stevie and all those guys were getting real input onto this kit. And then what we found was, as we got into the next one, so there was Peter Crouch was playing for England at the time, so you know where this is going. So he had to have like specially made socks because the regular socks were too short for him, they looked daft. And then the other challenge we had was Sean Wright Phillips, because he had an extra small shirt and a double extra large name, and it didn't fit, and we had to get special dispensation off FIFA to use the women's name set on his shirt because the men's one was too big and it wouldn't fit on his back. And so we had to take it, we had to have the Wright Phillips name set, and we'd be designing the shirts and get the prototypes in. You'd have to lay it over the top and be always going over the sleeves. So we've got to move the seams around a little.
There's a lot more to it than we know.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, definitely. It's it was actually great though, shortly after that, because it was at the time as well where we were getting a load of bad press as English fans, and we weren't really performing that great. The England team hadn't really done a huge amount, and we brought in a famous graphic designer called Peter Savile. Peter Savile's a guy who designed all the New Order album covers and all that sort of stuff. And we worked quite closely with him. And when Rob brought us in, I had no idea that I was going to be working with Peter Savile. And Rob probably didn't realise that I idolise this guy because I'm a massive New Order fan. So anyway, cut a long story short, when we got him in board, we started doing the different coloured St George's crosses, if you remember. And that's what led to this little doozer, which I don't know if you can remember that. Wow. So you get the theme of what my designs are all now looking like now, a little bit mental. But so again, it was, you know, just always trying to do something a little bit different and think outside the box. So, you know, again, there's a famous picture with Joe Hart because we'd actually given them it as a goalkeeper's kit. And the whole idea with a goalkeeper's kit, so there's two trains of thoughts for a goalkeeper's kit. And it'd be interesting to get your point of view on this. So we did loads of research around, do we hide the keeper or do we make the keeper as bright as humanly possible? So the intention is, and again, this was like some of the conversations we were having with Arsene Wenger and Ferguson at the time, where we were talking about like the peripheral vision, that split second is you're going to hit a ball over or you whatever. So the idea is, well, do you hide the keeper so you cannot see him, so you don't know where he is, or do you make him as bright as possible? So the idea is your eye will see that colour, and as you hit the ball, you'll aim for it subconsciously or consciously. So there was loads of like science behind a lot of the designs that you do as well. And this was one of them, but we loved the graphics so much we actually made a whole lifestyle range out of all of this, and we called it the Fabric of England.
You know, obviously when I was a kid, every keeper wore green. What was it about, you know, a keeper all happened to be in green, or every keeper was in green?
I
what
think
was
it
that?
was just that not many clubs played in green. So
that what it was, basically,
So there wouldn't have been the kit clash. And it was as simple as that. You would have had, at World Cups, I think Ray Clements would have been wearing yellow and stuff, because you had African teams and things like that where green was a more common colour. And it changes a little bit from country to country, where in like Germany, Switzerland,
I was just thinking more of the first division, you know, like Neville South or Grobbelaar, Gary Bailey, everyone wore green, didn't they?
I can't think there's ever been a team whose primary colour was green in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's funny though, because that whole process, like from when it started, the history of football kits all the way through, I mean, it's changed so drastically. And there's so, as we were talking about earlier, there's so many people who've got, you know, you'll design for a keeper, you'll design them the perfect short, you know, well, I wear me lucky trousers over them. So we used to design football kits for this particular goalkeeper. I can't really remember who it was. I'm sure it was when I was playing for, when I was working for Puma. And every time we designed a pair of shorts for him, he would wear proper joggers underneath his shorts. So
it might have been Peruzzi at Lazio.
I think it was Lazio, that's right, because that was the first time I designed a Lazio kit. And I remember we turned up and the guy was like, I'll have a triple extra large in my shorts, please. I'm like, there's nothing to you. And then when I looked at him, I'm like, holy shit, that's because you've got a pair of joggers on underneath. I mean, you're just absolutely mental. You just can't comprehend some of the stuff.
I remember designing for a goalkeeper who was at Tottenham at the time. And I won't give his name away, it could have been any one of the goalkeepers they'd got during that period. But he was very sensitive about his weight. And so it was...
You said it. Exclusive.
And so he would always prefer to play in black. If you remember, like even club football, international football, he wanted to wear black.
Yeah.
And so to try and present anything remotely.
Was that Levy Ashin? Was he all black?
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
But and Joe Hart always liked to wear. He wanted head to toe, including his gloves and boots, to match. So when he was an Umbro athlete and we were doing the England kit, it was always we had to coordinate with everybody. Goalkeepers are tricky, as I'm sure you know.
So if you could now, right, and you had the chance to swap a shirt with anybody.
With a player?
Yeah, who would it be? It would it be because of the player or the shirt?
It would be Franco Baresi.
Right.
Yeah, I just think my favourite player in the position I played, and also, for me, the best team I'd seen as a child, probably surpassed by the Messi Barcelona team, I'd say, and that kit, you know, just that red, black stripes. I would go AC Milan, 89.
Wow.
That was perfect, wasn't it? What about current player? So if you were still playing today, who would you have relished playing against to swap shirts with them?
Oh, so as the player or the kit?
Both.
Or, a bit of both.
Both.
Yeah. Well, I'd go with another defender, Thiago Silva. I think is amazing. He's been a brilliant defender, still playing at the age he is now, but it will not be the Chelsea shirt. I just think when I was a kid, and it wasn't like it is now where you can go and buy any shirt, there was something iconic about a Brazil shirt, not the style, it was just
Jimmy,
it was
especially the 2002 Brazil.
Especially that one, Is that the one they couldn't get on again?
Yeah, thanks for that, mate.
He didn't score enough goals to win.
Touche.
But I'll go with I don't even know what the kit is, it's just Brazil.
Yeah.
And when you were a kid, everyone wanted a Brazil shirt. You couldn't get them in the shops, and Brazil was just an iconic football shirt.
I mean,
so I'll go with Thiago Silva, Brazil.
Good man. So out of all the players you've played against, apart from Sir Alan Shearer, obviously, who's the best player you've ever played against?
Thierry Henry.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
the Invincible
fantastic.
season, they were some team. I work with him now on TV, I think it's the closest I ever got to him.
Wow.
But yeah,
Brilliant.
I still think he was the best player to ever play in the Premier League.
Yeah, something else.
And he actually wore that Invincible shirt I designed. Did you know
I
that?
don't know, that's why I said it.
I think he's
It
brilliant.
wasn't really his toughest opponent.
Excellent. Right, we talk about Liverpool being the mecca of not only football, but we do have to mention the whole culture, the music, the environment. As a lad that's grown up in Bootle, what was it like in the 80s when it was kind of Scally's, dare I say, Liverpool away, coming back with lots and lots of clobber? I mean, it really was the epicentre of fashion at one point.
It was, and I mean, for me, I was probably too young to really appreciate it, but I do remember, we call them trainees, everyone else calls them trainers. It was trainees, and everyone would always say, every time you go into Christmas, what trainees you get, what trainees you get. And there's a big thing in Liverpool, your Christmas clothes. And I'd speak to other players or, you know, from different parts of the country, and they'd be like, what do you mean Christmas clothes? And if, no, you get clothes for Christmas, you wear Christmas Day and you wear Boxing Day.
Yeah.
They can just buy clothes when we need them. But there was always that thing.
Like fancy pants.
Yeah. But I'm a bit like, there was always a big thing as a kid. Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Your Sunday best, we used to call it.
So it was always a bit like, what are your Christmas clothes and what trainees you get? It wasn't like what toy you were getting. It was like an obsession. We'd be asking in school for weeks, what trainees are you getting? I always remember Adidas Torsion, Reebok Classics, Reebok Pump.
Yeah. Reebok Pump Furies, man. They're like one of my all-time favourite trainers that I collect big time.
Yeah.
Loved
So
them.
I just remember that, was it Reebok ERS?
Yeah, it was. Energy return system.
Yeah. So all that type of thing, and the Torsion ones, there was different colours. So it was a bit like the kids.
I used to buy them out of the case catalogue and like pay them off 50p a week.
I'm sure that's what we all
I'm still
did,
paying for some of them.
Yeah. I used to love those Adidas trackies where you had the little poppers. And
Yeah, you
could
take them
pull
out to the
all
back.
off.
Yeah, the three at the
class.
back.
It's when you're in a Chippendales.
Yeah, it was actually, aye.
So yeah, there was an obsession when I was a kid. Probably not so much music scene for me because I was just obsessed with football and the trainees at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like that. I mean, everyone argues, you know, the casuals, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That used to done up the late 70s, early 80s, probably a little bit before my time, and the Slazenger jumpers and all that type of thing.
Pringle and all that.
I know everyone always argues and fights over that who started that, but we claim it because Liverpool was so successful in Europe.
I don't think it should be in doubt.
No, I don't think it is an argument. I think it absolutely is the fact. It's,
well, Lacosta's still going strong.
Yeah, Lacosta, let's say, Sergio Tacchini, all of those. But thanks for that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do some quick fire questions.
Okay.
And you cannot dwell on them. It's
won't,
bish
don't
bash
worry.
bosh.
Allowed to pass either.
Go on.
Yeah, you've got to give her an answer.
Let's go. Am I bashing through all of them?
You can do the... Well, we'll just see how we go.
All right. Ready? Go. Liverpool kits or Everton kits?
Oh, Liverpool kits.
White balls or yellow balls?
White balls.
V-neck or round neck?
V-neck.
Long sleeve or short sleeve?
Long sleeve.
Home or away?
Oh, away.
Sponsor or no sponsor?
Ooh, no sponsor.
Liverpool or England kits?
Oh, Liverpool.
Gloves or no gloves?
No gloves.
Clean shirt at half-time?
Yes. Clean shirt half time. Yeah, I love doing that.
Right, so thinking Liverpool kits, Reebok, Adidas, Warrior, New Balance or Umbro?
Adidas.
Bootle or Barbados?
Haha, Bootle.
Own goals or red cards? You tell me to get.
Own goal. Own goal.
Short shorts or long shorts?
Oh, long shorts.
Who's winning the Prem?
Man City.
Top four?
Man City, Arsenal, Man United and Newcastle.
Good lad.
Would you rather fight Souness or Keane?
Oh, Keane.
Would you rather be managed by Gary Neville or Stevie Gerrard?
Stevie Gerrard by a mile.
BBC or Sky?
Sky.
CBS or Sky?
Oh, Sky. Who pays you the most money? You got to go with them.
And the last one then, Anfield or Wembley?
Oh, Anfield.
Right, brilliant. Thanks for that. That was such good fun. Now then, what we're going to do, Jamie, is talk about your incredible work with 23 Foundation. Tell us a little bit about it.
So, named on the back of my shirt number. So I prefer to call it the 23 Foundation rather than the Jamie Carragher Foundation. and basically my testimonial money went into a foundation, and we give the proceeds away twice. So the money that, or the interest that it builds up, we give that away every year. So we sort of do it in 2 halves. So I'm actually doing that on Monday. So that's almost the second half of, so we do one before Christmas and one sort of a summertime giving away. So doing that Monday, so we would probably give about between 80 to 100 grand away a year.
Brilliant.
Right.
So I think there's 50 in the pot. I got an email the other day for the summer. So we don't give large amounts out. We don't give like a 10, 20,000 pound charity gift to anyone. It would be a lot of small donations going to lots of people, so sort of 2,000-3,000 pound. Might be a case of keeping a youth club going for the summer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the problems now we know, the cost of living. So a lot of food banks, helping food banks, providing food, shelter for people. So that's where a lot of the money is going.
And what's the process for applying for that and the selection process of it? Presumably it's not Graham Kelly with balls in.
No. Basically, you have to apply to the community foundation, who are a foundation who look after charities, basically. So they make sure that everything is right and proper. Yeah. So it's not a case of, a charity just giving the money to the mates, or, they can do what they want with it. So they just call me in. I haven't got a clue who's applied. I'll go there and we'll have an hour going through all the applications. And you want to give it to all of them, but the money doesn't cover all of them. And it might be a case of, well, this charity, because once you've given someone a donation, doesn't mean that they don't need it the year after, but it might be a case, well, okay, they had it last year, these are new, or we don't know enough about these yet, we want to do a bit more information, what they're actually asking for. So you delve in a little bit deeper. It's not just, okay, someone can have it. What's the money for? What's it going to be doing? Is this under our umbrella of what we normally like to do? Really. We're very big on defibrillators right now. Okay. We've put about 15 to 20 defibrillators around Liverpool, so we've paid for them. On the back of me getting involved with the Oliver King Foundation. Right. Oliver King is a lad who lost his life because of a lack of a defibrillator, so his dad's had a big campaign. I've joined him. We've been to government about that. They're now getting put in every school. Would you believe they're not in every school?
Yeah, it's madness.
Defibrillators. So his charity funds that, we've helped that. So we've funded about 20 of them throughout the city. So that's a big part of the foundation at the moment. And long may it continue. So it's been going now nearly about 2009 we started. So nearly 15 years. We did a 10-year anniversary. A few years ago, we raised... What did we raise on the night? I can't remember. I think it was about 250 grand. And all that money went to grassroots football. We want to keep that in terms of grassroots football on that night. So we did that with soccer schools. Defibrillators in terms of being at football and hubs. Yeah. What else have we done? We paid for a ward at Alder Hay Children's Hospital, which the ward that I was on when I was first born. So I was in Alder Hay, which is our children's hospital in Liverpool. I was there for the first 6 weeks of my life. So I've got a great, obviously, relationship with the hospital. So the hospital was obviously built a new hospital, but they had to pay for all the new facilities in there. So we put a couple of 100 grand in there on the ward that I was on, in terms of getting all this.
It must be a great feeling being able to give back, right?
Yeah, it is. It's very nice. But I mean, listen, I think charity is something I'm speaking about today, but I don't think it's something that you should be, on the rooftop screaming and shouting about it. You should, certainly someone in my position, I think you should do it if you've got an opportunity to do it. I think there's a lot of people who haven't got the opportunity to do it, who would do it if it's me. So I don't think I deserve a medal for what I'm doing, but I think I've been very lucky, the life for me and my family and friends. So I think it's right that we give back, we do. And it's nice to speak about it. We just try and help people, but I don't think it's a case of doing it so you get a pat on the back, or you get an MBE, or you get an award or something. It's nice to be able to do nice things and help people. And we keep it, to be fair, very local. It's a Liverpool-based charity. We don't really... If anyone asks us from outside the city boundaries, they wouldn't get it. And that's not because we don't help people. It's just that, it's not easy. You're talking about maybe your Birmingham, your Newcastle, working class cities. it's very tough for people, so we keep it within inside the city boundaries,
Yeah, that's great. And is there, like, as you've done it, you know, you mentioned the defibrillators and various different things just there. Is there like one standout story that you could tell us that you think we've really made a difference to someone's life there?
I don't think it's one person. I mean, we help people. Initially, the charity was in the case of trying to help people into sport in terms of, you know, whether it was tennis lessons, if someone's got a great talent, but they can't go to the next level without sort of funds. And it's not like football, it's, you know, jumpers for goal, posts, a ball, that's all you need. So we've helped people like that. But I think the big one that we did was not so much an individual person. I think when the pandemic happened, the COVID thing, and the kids couldn't go to school, don't forget that the parents are then having to provide another meal that they don't normally have to make, like the lunch. So we used to put food on here for a lot, right? We do it in the summer holidays, and we do it in conjunction with a charity called Holiday Hunger, where you're providing basically a meal that, you know, people can't afford really. So to do that though for almost 2 or 3 meals a day, no one knew when the kids were going back to school, everything was stopped. So we did that from here. So people could just come in here. We funded a lot of that. So it wasn't an individual person, but that was like out of nowhere. Everyone was struck by, everyone had their own problems basically, didn't they, right then? But definitely. For kids going to school and mums and dads, you know, factoring in the school will be paying for that meal, or you know, my kid will be getting a hot meal then, and for how long they were off. So we did a lot of work from here. So that's probably something, because it came out of nowhere.
No,
that we had to react
respond
to.
it. Yeah, I mean, for us, when we set up the Spark Design Academy, was also during lockdown, where we were just having a conversation and saying there's so many young people that aren't getting work experience and are missing out on opportunities because they're stuck at home. How can we put that experience and that learning into their homes? And I think something that's become really apparent for us is, and certainly with the way that we grew up ourselves, is that from less privileged areas, creativity and sport and music play a massive role in people being able to escape from that and find a better life for themselves. Do you think there should be perhaps more onus on those industries that generate a huge amount of cash to be able to keep stimulating those?
100%. And when you talk about, I do think of, well, certainly in this city, when you think of Liverpool, if you're outside of Liverpool, you probably think of the football clubs and the Beatles, don't you? You know, that's probably from outside. But I do think sport is massive, and easy for me to say that, but just the well-being of sport, you know, just being involved in it. I was here since I was a kid, and I don't know what it feels like, but it felt like there was a massive community with youth clubs. Used to go to other youth clubs to, you know, play five-a-side or play pool competitions, table tennis. And I don't know if there's as many youth clubs right now. Maybe it's just, I don't know, but
certainly a lot have been.
Yeah, it always felt like, I don't feel as if like the kids go to youth clubs as much. We're lucky we've got this right in the heart of the community, but this is not used just as a youth club anymore. You see, there's people in here today now, you know, pensioners coming in, people getting fed, and they have a link with the local, the school across the road, my primary school across the road, St James. So kids come from there now, straight from school. They get fed here, and then they stay for a couple of, almost like they're getting looked after in some ways, because, you know, it's so tough. So I think youth clubs can play a major part, and I think that's something that we've got to almost keep going, and that's why we do a lot of funding for youth clubs. So tomorrow or on Monday, when I go through the applications, there'll be 4 or 5 youth clubs that will keep them going over the 6-week holiday period or the Easter period, you know, and getting kids in. So I think places like this are vital in our areas. Keep kids off the street, keep them fit, mix them with other kids. So I think
the mental health benefits of exercise and community and friendship as well.
Absolutely. And then to Rob's point, I mean, that's where we were coming from with the Spark Design Academy. The idea was, you know, we can't get to do no one's going to take us serious if we say about football or sports and stuff. But what we can do is, like, is there, you know, the creative side of things? Can we get involved with organisations and see if there's ways that, you know, for those kids that, okay, they're into sport, but they might not be any good at football, but they maybe aspire to design a football kit, or they may want to do...
If they're anything like me, I didn't even really realise that was a job when I was a kid. It was just a hobby. You know, didn't even think about how does this stuff come into existence. You know, so raising awareness of what are the opportunities for the other parts of sport and football in particular.
Well, I think the two commonalities between both sides of the table is it's about giving back and trying to help people as much as humanly possible.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, what, you know, you've been a successful footballer, you're a successful businessman, you know, you're a successful pundit, so on and so forth. What advice would you give to kids nowadays as they're growing up? You know, in some cases, they're going through college, they're getting out of college, there's still nothing out there with all the qualifications they've
Getting
got.
bombarded with bad news 24 hours.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think of everything, we've had the pandemic now, we've got the war in Ukraine, which has had a massive impact on all of our lives. What advice would you be giving to young kids now coming out of school, or, you know, just graduating?
Trying to get through.
Getting through life. Where would your head be at with that?
It's tough. I mean, my kids have just come out not long out of school themselves, really. And I mean, you know, people always ask me questions like that, advice, and I always think I've had a little bit of luck, if I'm being honest. But I always say to my own kids, doing enough's not enough. You know, in terms of wanting to get on, you've got to, you know, you can all have a bit of a talent. I think a talent's not enough, is it? I don't think. I think you've got to, you know, you've got to work hard. I think that's the minimum requirement, really. And that's what I say to the kids. Just if you want to be the best at something, or you want to get into this, or whatever you get into, there's competition everywhere, isn't it? You know, in whatever field you're in, and just being okay is, you've got to, and that's not, as I said, I'm not talking about talent. I'm talking about like sort of graft and hard work, and you've got to, you know, life's tough, isn't it?
Well, I think that's like, we're all, you know, from working class backgrounds. And I mean, I remember my dad used to always say to me, son, you've got to work hard and you create your own luck in life.
Yeah, the harder I work, the luckier I get. Is the phrase that people use.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's definitely true.
Yeah, definitely. Well, listen, Jamie, it's been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. Have you got any other questions you want to ask us too, Duds?
Yes.
Right.
If you're in charge of kits, if you're the boss of kits, I need some of these kits, these old kits.
Right.
Can you get me them?
So what we're going to do, so you're going to give us a list of the kits that you want.
Yes,
And
old kits
right.
from when I was a child that I remember.
Yep.
And I'm going to frame them and put them somewhere.
Right.
So
So
you want the proper original kits, not janky.
No, I've come to the main men.
yeah. So this is a big shout out to the whole community. We are going to sort this out for Jamie. He's going to send us a list of Spark Design Academy and the kit breakdown. Once we get that list, we'll share it with the community. Everybody needs to give a hand, making sure Jamie can get them. And I'm sure we'll do something around a charitable
we can get that
giveaway
together,
and so on and so forth.
100%.
And we'll do something good. So once again, Jamie, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Cheers, man.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
cheers.
Thanks for joining us on the channel today. We really appreciate
How
you.
good was that?
It was good.
It was very good.
It was good. So yeah, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate you tuning in today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave your comments. Do you agree with Jamie's favourite shirts, or were you somebody who actually thought that the Warrior Liverpool away kits were the greatest shirts of all time?
I very much doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a high likelihood that if that's your comment, you'll get hounded off YouTube. But hey, you can try your luck. So yeah, thanks a lot again. We really appreciate it, and we will see you next time here on the Kit Breakdown.
Cheers. Happy days.
Sound.
Right. Over to you then, sir.
Let's do my fancy intro.
Yeah.
Right, let's go.
Don't know if it's fancy like.
Yeah, we've pre-recorded another one in case you don't like it. So don't worry.